Hey, I like that comeback by Rutgers on Saturday.
What's up, my family?
Hold on, going live.
Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
Hounds exclusively on A2D Radio. Brad Ryer, Rob Brinkman, Doug Mankiewicz be on just a few minutes. Remember to hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Download us wherever you get your podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Big night tonight. NLCS, Game 1, pregame show, live reactions. We'll give you the scoop. We'll watch the game with you. Arizona, Philadelphia, if you're living under a rock. As you can see, I am in the heart of Philadelphia. You can see Liberty 1 and Liberty 2 over my left shoulder. I am staring at the Art Museum to my left. So we are in parade mode, which brings us to our poll question tonight. The Philadelphia Phillies will win the NLCS. This is a stone. Like this season would be a complete and utter failure if the Philadelphia Phillies couldn't get this series done. In my opinion, they hit better, they pitch better, the bullpen's way better. I think they have a better manager. They have home field. They didn't go to Game 5 against Atlanta, so you got Wheels up tonight. You got Nola tomorrow. You got Suarez. You got the optimal pitching matchup. Like the Phillies, they're just a better team. And just like we talked about the Atlanta Braves being at a disadvantage potentially with the 5-game series and the division series, now the Phillies are favored. They should be favored in every game. And it's a 7-game series, which favors the better, more talented team, which is the Phillies. Game 1 tonight might be a little tough. Zach Gallen's on the mound. He's a really good pitcher. But past Zach Gallen, I mean, you got Merrill Kelly. You got the young kid. You don't really have anything going on in terms.
Wilson, Tommy Henry, they're not really good.
What's his name? Paffled. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but I mean he's been pitching innings. The Phillies should be able to get to him. This is a stone. This is potential sweep. 5
sweep. I think Arizona gets one. Yeah, but I mean, understand this. If I sound kind of muffled, I got a tooth pulled today, so the drugs are wearing off. So
you got better ones. You got.
Well, they're in a good mood.
Plenty more. Where that came from. No, I just feel like, look, the National League West, they don't ever play in this atmosphere. Like a 3-game series in May doesn't count. They're going to be – it's going to get like whether it was the Dodgers or whoever it is, the Diamondbacks, whoever came from the National League West, this isn't this Philly crowd is different, and they're going to feel what the playoffs are supposed to feel like tonight. And, 7-game series, it's getting a deeper team usually wins. There's two dynamics to this. Philly is expected to win, and I think that's the first time in this situation that they feel that. Not that that changed anything, but there's a different dynamic to it. I'm curious to see if Philly exhales a little bit because the Diamondbacks are young and they're not supposed to be there and whatever. And I'm curious to see how these young players handle the Philly atmosphere and moving on to a real 7-game series. So I'm intrigued by both of those things.
Yeah, I mean, even the whole run last year, I don't think the Phillies were favored once. Right. Maybe against the Padres in the NLCS they were favored, but they weren't favored against the Braves either year. They weren't favored against the Astros in the World Series last year. So this is kind of uncharted territory as favorites. That's it.
Like I said, it goes back to what we talked about before. We talked about this before the playoffs started, right? We talked about how I thought Philly was sitting in a wonderful position because everybody talked about the Braves. Braves this, Braves that. I didn't buy it. And now all that talk switches to Philly, right? They're supposed to win. It's a bigger market. Diamondbacks, no one really knows who they are. They're still really good players. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. But other than that, I think Philly should use the home crowd to their advantage like I always do, and really don't exhale. Don't breathe yet. Keep your foot on the gas, keep the intensity level up, and do what they've been doing to everybody else. If they can keep that same intensity and that same focus, in which I don't think there's a problem because it is the trip to the NLCS to see who goes to the World Series, but don't let your foot off the gas. This team, the Arizona's dangerous. They can bite you. Last thing you want to do is give a young team hope. It's like the NFL. You give a team that shouldn't play with you hope and leave them hanging around, bad things happen to good teams. So, step on their neck early and don't let up.
Yeah, we saw that across the NFL yesterday with the Niners, the Eagles, Buffalo almost spit it up. But Brad, what do you think about the NLCS?
I think the Phillies win in 5. I'll give Arizona a game. The Phillies are pretty much better at almost every position. So they've also, they got that experience. They have home field advantage. I don't see Arizona coming in and winning. But then again, I didn't think they'd beat the Dodgers, and I didn't think they'd beat Milwaukee either. So, maybe I don't know as much as I thought I did. But Philly just to me looks like they're on a mission. I don't know if anybody can beat them at this point. I think Houston or Texas is going to have their hands full playing against them too. So whoever it is, Philly I think is clearly the team to beat. I think they're the team to beat in the World Series as well. Right now I've seen the power ratings. I agree with them. They're rated number 1. Texas and I think Houston, then Texas, and then Arizona. I think that's pretty accurate right now.
Arizona hasn't been forced to play a game yet.
Not really, no.
Not really. They pretty much won.
I mean, you can count one of those. I think one of those in the Milwaukee series counts, I would guess. But they haven't had to the Dodgers. The Dodgers were a train wreck going into this postseason. They were in shambles. They were hurt. They had to rely on their offense and club people to death, and that just doesn't work in October. I'll be curious to see what happens. Like I said, they're about to run into a buzzsaw in Philly.
Remember, each and every Monday we're brought to you by Baguio's Breads, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. Now open 9 to 3 every Sunday to better service your Eagle and football tailgate and house party needs. So, Doug, this is a little different. We're going to do a 2-3-2 format in this NLCS. Your thoughts on that?
That's how it's always been. It's always been 2-3-2 in baseball.
Has it really?
7-game series, yeah.
Because the NBA kind of switches, and
that's like the NBA does that 5-6 switch, whatever. Baseball's always been 2-3-2, and I kind of always I've only been in a couple 3 CSs, but I think it's harder. You want to have 4 games at home, but that 3 game in the middle is tough. I mean, it's you try to steal. I feel like the team that's on the road first can kind of if you steal one, it's a huge momentum switch going into the 3 games at your place. But I like the format. It kind of gives them a chance where they play 3 days in a row instead of play, travel, play, day off, whatever. But it's a 7-game series a little bit different. You have to manage it differently. You can't just if you ever notice, for the most part, eventually the teams that just rely on their bullpen, AKA the Rays, that catches up to them because of 7-game series. You keep trotting the same guys out there all the time, they wear down. I remember thinking back to 2004, one of the guys that I got that was quote unquote my guy to face was Tom Gordon. And I remember Tom Gordon having an electric slider, giddy up on his fastball, and they used him so much.
Torrey wore him out.
Game 4, game 5, his stuff looked mortal, and it never looked mortal. And that's why you see a guy enough, and that's what makes relievers so tough is because you only see him one time. Well, you're talking about teams that have like Phillies have two legit starters, right? Like you saw the game last night. They kept, the best thing Verlander did in Houston is keep him in the game. He lost, but he did his job. He kept them from going to the pen. You saw it today. Framber didn't have it, but he kept throwing them out there knowing if I unload them now, even with the day off, you don't want to expose your bullpen too much too soon. And that's where starting pitching always goes back to where you have to do it. And I said the game's over now. I think Houston's in trouble. They're running into an absolute. To me, Texas is the scariest team in here because they're so hot. And I'm going to be torn in a Phillies Rangers World Series because I've really fallen in love with this Philly team.
Texas will give them all they can handle,
and they just keep coming. They can hit number ones.
Yeah,
and that's not normal.
They hit everybody. I mean, they can really hit.
But I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves. But like I said,
their pitching is pretty doggone good too. They don't have a legitimate ace, but they got a bunch of 2s and 3s, and they're all good veteran pitchers.
Evaldi's as close to a 1 as you can get in the postseason.
Well, Scherzer's pitching next game.
That's where I thought this game was huge for Texas, depending on how they want to do it. Right now, you don't have trust me, you never want to say, oh, we'll just kind of give them game 3. That's not the case. But if Texas falls behind 2-0 in like the second or third, you can not only like if he runs into trouble and he's spotty, you can kind of leave him out there a little bit to where like he gets some innings under his belt. There's going to be a strict pitch count, obviously. Let him get his full work in, and there's this winning game 2 really gives them a lot of leeway in how they handle Max Scherzer and how he handles himself in game 3.
Yeah, Christian Javier has not pitched well at all this year, and when he has to face Texas, in Texas, that's going to be rough. That's all I could say. I think Texas is going to be tough for them now. I mean they've got pitching. They've got their relief pitching is a little spotty, but they got good starting pitching and they can hit.
I mean, it boils down to either Altuve or Tucker have to hit for Houston. Because Alvarez is unconscious right now. He's carrying him. Bregman had a big hit today. Like one of those two, Brantley's coming back. He's just Mr.
Abreu's got to start. Abreu's got to start getting involved too.
Yeah, but I mean, he pretty much without him, they don't get past the Twins. So
no, I know he had a big series against Minnesota, but I mean, he's got to have a big series in this one though.
Tucker's scuffling. They need one more. They need a lefty. In my opinion, and that's where Brantley comes in to protect Alvarez. I think Abreu does that on reputation, and I love the way he made the lineup out tonight. The way he put Tucker in the 3-hole, I thought that was a confidence boost to put him in front of Alvarez. I would do a little switching if I'm Dusty, which he has done a little tinkering from here and there, but. I think I try to spread out. I got to find one of them to put. I go back to Brantley in the 2-hole, but I guess a righty. But that's just me. But I just feel like they need one more guy because Alvarez is unconscious. Bregman's had a big hit today. I just feel like they need one more guy.
Last thing on this American League Series, is Houston dead? Can they?
They can come back.
They can come back.
Yeah,
don't count them out.
I mean, they're. Look, if there's one team that can come back, even if Texas wins game 3, they can do it. They have the arms, they have the ability, they have the offense that clicks to where they can carry you. They've got the arms down there that can shut you down. If I'm the Rangers, I don't want a day off. I want to keep playing. They're rolling, right. And the thing I love about it is they're aggressively doing it. I mean, they're coming out. I think what did he give up 5 hits in the first 10 pitches today, and they're just on the attack. And that's usually the team that does that ends up holding the trophy at the end of all this is the one that's on the attack. 3-0 swings, You know, like this, they're not afraid of the outcome. They trust their ability and they go.
The bullpen, managing a bullpen, and we touched on a little bit earlier in the show. 5-game series versus 7-game series. You know, Game 3 is going to be Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. You got Wheeler and Nola in the first 2 games. Those are kind of traditional, 6-7 inning starts. But if you remember, in Game 1 or 2, I think it was Game 1 against the Braves, Suarez pitched. He only went 3 2/3. Like, that can't fly in a 7-game series, can it, Doug?
You can get away with it once.
That's it.
You can't do it back to back. That's usually where you see in a perfect world, if you're managing, at least for me, you try to save your long guys for your number 4, right? Because your number 4 in a 5-game series generally goes to the pen, right? He's the long guy. He's off schedule. He doesn't quite pitch, and I can only use him once. So now he's going to becomes a starter, and now all of a sudden we're scrambling, chasing outs too early in a series. So in a perfect world, I thought what Dusty did today with Framber, like, he could have very easily taken him out after the first or second inning, but you got to get length somewhere. And then all of a sudden you wait to see basically if your offense answers, right? They answer, right? Alvarez homer, then they answer back, make it 5-1. Then Bregman's homer cuts it to 3. Now you go ahead and make moves because you feel your team's coming back. If they're sitting 5-0, you might roll them out there a little bit longer, but it goes to the other side too. You got to know too, if I expose him for 110, 115, he's not, and I want him to come back in this series again, all that plays into that too. So you kind of have to know obviously you know your guys, you know how they can handle it, but you generally try, you have I would say you have a longer leash if you can help it.
So then we're going to have Wheeler, we're going to have Nola, we're going to have Suarez. Then I suppose a Taijuan Walker or Christopher Sanchez.
I would think so. You can run.
I would think it would be Taijuan Walker.
Here's the thing, though. If they get 6 or 7 out of the first 3, you can have your bullpen day on Game 4. And then you're going to have to ride Wheeler the next day in 5, right? You just can't have that back-to-back. That's where you get in trouble, right? If you have that, if you don't want to overexpose your bullpen, you can kind of do a bullpen day on 4, hoping and praying that your ace is going to give you 6 or 7, and it all lines up. Like, one has everything to do with tomorrow. So you kind of you do a check every night or the next day. You good? You good? You good? You ask them. They're all going to say yes. And then you talk to the pitching coach who goes out there early and watch them throw. Okay. You tender? All right. Back off. He's, I can give you 5 outs tonight. If the good teams, that's where the Astros are at. Experience-wise, they can go up to probably top or 2 with some of his guys. Hey, I can give you 6. I can give you 5. I can give you 4 outs. Don't be scared to throw me out there and close it for 4 outs. And that's kind of what I guarantee if Dusty does Presley, it's against the realm, but they haven't had to be forced to that situation yet because Abreu hasn't given a run, since like June. But if that came to it, you ask a guy in Presley's status who's had playoff experience, is a veteran, hey, I can give you 5. Like, don't be afraid to bring. I can close this thing out with 5 outs. So that's kind of the rapport and kind of how the managers and pitching coaches talk.
Now, if this series were to go 6, 7 games, what is your theory on pitching, say, a Wheeler or a Nola on 3 days rest and or out of the bullpen in a role that they're necessarily not accustomed to?
It depends. It depends on. There's a million ways to work out.
That's a very shaky situation to do that, though.
But if you have a chance to step on someone's throat, don't wait till tomorrow. Do it tonight.
That's true, but I can tell you, I can give you a couple of examples of that. Like a guy like Randy Johnson in the playoffs was brought in a couple of times in late innings to try to slam the door, and he got whacked around. It sometimes it actually does happen like that.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like, who do you? It's obvious the Phillies don't have a designated closer by what happened against the Braves. I don't think anybody questioned it because it worked, but for me, I wish I would have paid more attention to the Phillies throughout the course of the season, and watched how they used Alvarado, the lefty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How they used him, and why are they so afraid to throw him more than 4 outs?
I don't know. I mean, he was. If you did follow them in the regular season, he was in and out of the lineup on the DL. He had his shoulder,
That's why,
elbow.
too.
Yeah, he was in and out. And Kimbrel was lights out for the Phillies. He made the All-Star team. He got the save in the All-Star game, and now he's kind of peaked in that like June, July, August range.
He might kind of be cooked a little bit.
I mean, older guy. I mean,
Yeah.
Alvarado's the best.
I've said it. When I did my major league interview for the Twins, it was one of my managerial questions, and this was back in 2012 or 13. So this was 10, 11 years ago. They asked me that exact question, and I said, "Well,
which question is that? I'm sorry."
Like the question about like how Topper did it a couple of days ago against the Braves.
Okay.
Like, trust me, in a perfect world, every manager wants to have a Mo at the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
You're the 9th. You know, Jeff Nelson's the 8th, right? Mike Stanton's the 7th. We want that. I said, but sometimes in today's game, the save is in the 7th, not in the 9th. And that was an exact question that was raised to me and in front of the, 50 people or 10 people I was in the office with. And I was like, I'm not opposed to bringing in my closer in a playoff situation if he's a younger guy, if he's up and coming, right? If he's not established like a veteran. Did we go spend $20 million a year on this guy? I'm not going to make Mo say, hey, can you go pitch the 7th? That's different. You have a guy who's not quite established, and that was kind of what we were going to have in Minnesota, a bunch of young guys and in our pen, like, hey, we don't – like, I know roles matter to you guys, but this is the postseason, and all we care is about is outs. And that was one of the questions they asked me. Are you willing to put in your closer in the 7th inning? I'm like, yeah. If I feel like the game is going to – this is the game right here, like, why am I going to save my best guy to go through 7, 8, 9 if it happens? I'd rather have my best go through 2, 3, 4 than 7, 8, 9 in the 9th.
And that's exactly how Alvarado's been used this postseason by Topper.
Correct. And that shows you he has – and that goes back into Topper's, just aura, right? Like the fact that he can get those guys to buy into that, because it's not an easy sell. Everybody wants to be the closer. Everybody wants to be the setup guy. They don't want to be the reliever. They want to have this title, right? Well, no, like just get outs. Like that, I don't care. And that shows you like that Topper can relate to them, understand them, and get them to understand what we are trying to do. And that's just another feather in his cap to how he does it.
Pulling the lineups here for tonight. And more lineups.
Carroll, Marte, Pham. Is that the lineup? Walker, Moreno, Gurriel, Thomas, Longoria. Yeah. Phillies, we got Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Stott, Realmuto, Castellanos, Marsh, Rojas.
What do you think of that? What do you think of Castellanos being in that 7th?
Castellanos batting 7th.
Depth.
He's been batting 7th, and he's been crushing it. So, like, is it a situation where Bohm hasn't been that good? You kind of switch him, or you leave Castellanos alone because he's killing it?
Leave it alone. You're not gonna hide anybody in the lineup in the NLCS. It's like the crazy part is Phillies pretty much outside of one of the better playoff catches you'll ever see in Michael Harris.
Right.
They swept them. And Schwarber hasn't done anything.
No. And
he is a bona fide, October just animal, right? Like it's just a matter of time until he clicks and then it's over, right? If they get that dude rolling and he starts clicking balls into the stands, like it's gonna, like that's why the addition to making your lineup deeper is so huge, because for situations like this because, yeah, everybody would love it. Everybody would love to have everybody clicking at the same time. It never happens. You never get 9 guys going at the same time. But the difference is like when you have – let's put it this way. Your 7-hole hitter just did something that's never been done in the postseason. That's pretty special. And there's no breathing room there. There's no exhale moment in that whole entire lineup.
Yeah, and if you can get Schwarber going, like you got
Oh,
Trey
Lord.
Turner.
Scary.
You get Trey Turner and Bryce Harper in the 2-3 hole. Harper, he sometimes hits 4th. He's hitting 3rd tonight. They both have over 1,700 OPSs this postseason. So if Schwarber gets going, you're absolutely right. This is scary. Now, the Diamondbacks led the major leagues in stolen bases. They're going to run. They're not bashful about it. That's part of what they do. For me, the total X factor of this NLCS from a Philly standpoint is the defense of JT Realmuto. I'm not worried about it or concerned about it, but I'm hoping that he has the running back or the runners on check and can throw a few of them out, maybe get them thinking. Because I don't think Arizona's going to be scared to run.
That's not on him. That's on the pitchers. That's not on him.
Really? Because they can't throw over.
They got to get quick to the plate.
Quick to the plate.
If you're a 1-3, they're going to run all over you. If you're 1.3 to home plate, they're going to have a field day. I don't care who's your catcher. If you're not 1-1 with Carroll on first, you have no shot. And that's what people don't realize. Like they don't understand. Like, yeah, catcher can have a bazooka and Realmuto's been a 1.88 in games. It doesn't matter. If you don't get the ball to him, it doesn't matter. So yeah, trust me, I'd rather have Realmuto than pretty much anybody else as catcher, all around catcher in the postseason.
Right.
Maldonado's pretty damn good defensively. Don't get me wrong, but he can't hit a lick. The guy in Texas is young, pretty good, both sides of the ball. Yes,
He can hit.
Yeah, but so can this dude.
That guy Helm can hit.
Look at his demeanor, though. I love what JT brings to this team. Like he's just quiet. He's strong. He looks under control. You can tell the guy's he's athletic. That's just I wouldn't want to. There's 4 great catchers in this thing. I'd take JT over all of them if I had to win a playoff game out of the 4 guys that are left.
Brad, X factor in the NLCS.
Yeah, I think that if the Diamondbacks are going to pull the upset, I think that they've got to have leads early in these games, and especially in Philadelphia, and try to take the fans out of the game because Philadelphia has raucous fans. It's not an easy place to play, and you've got to try to get ahead of them, and at least, you're never going to completely shut them up because that's impossible. Okay, but just to keep them a little less loud. That would be very, very helpful. I think if Arizona starts falling behind in these games, they're dead. There's no way they're going to be able to come back.
They got some pretty good numbers against Wheeler. They're 3-4. They're 2-3-4. We got some decent numbers against him. So I'm curious to see about that. Marte, Pham, and Walker all have pretty decent numbers against him.
What's Carroll leading off?
Yeah, like Arizona, Wheeler's he's 0 for 5. Marte's 4 for 10 with a homer. Pham's 5 for 11 with a homer. Walker's 9 for 17 with a homer. Gurriel's 3 for 10. So they have seen him before. That's not a ton of sample size, but Walker does. But Turner's 4 for 18 against Gallen. Harper's 4 for 12. Well, he's really hits everybody, so that doesn't really matter. Schwarber's 1 for 7 with a homer and 3 Ks, so that's about his norm, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I've never seen a season like Kyle Schwarber's this year.
Yeah, it's tough to look at. It's like if you look at that, you're like, man, that's an MVP number. 47.
So you remember Dave Kingman, don't you?
Yeah, but
wouldn't you say they're pretty similar kind of hitters, though?
I think Schwarber's made a much better hitter than Dave Kingman was.
They're
I don't get it. Though. His average shouldn't be that low. I know.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I saw Schwarber come up in the minor leagues. he was a tough out. Like he had a. I mean, he took what was given to him. But I mean, who's to argue? No one's saying a word. It's like, he's going to get even more paid because he hit 47 homers. So, like, again, it goes back to the industry. If I can tell him, hey, get more hits, I promise you'll cut his swing down, and then he'll hit 30, and they'll be like, well, what happened? Well, he told me to cut my swing down and use the whole field.
They always used to do that with Mike Lieberthal here.
Right.
The Phillies weren't any good, but they were like, you're a catcher, we need more pop. But he would hit 330.
Right.
And then they would be like, then he would go out next year, hit 20 home runs, but hit 270, and everyone's like, well, you suck this year.
Bobby Abreu. They wanted Bobby to be this power guy. But that's not who Bobby is. Bobby wanted to hit 330 with 50 doubles.
I thought he would have been a fantastic leadoff hitter. I don't know what he did after Philly, where he hit in the lineups in New York.
Hit 3 for us in New York.
Yeah, he hit 3 in New York.
He hit 3 for us, and it frustrated the hell out of me. I said, just put the guy at leadoffs. This was back in the era where they would fall games short of the not the Diamondbacks, the Marlins. Some ragtag Marlins squad, and with the Boa was the manager, and they would fall one game short because some sweatbag like Jeff Conine would just come out of nowhere and hit a bunch of home runs in the deciding series. Let's get to some comments here.
Who else was on that team? I'm trying to think of what you said. You brought up a good Lieberthal. Bobby. I'm trying to think. There was more. Go ahead. I'm just trying to think who else was there.
Jeff Conine was Mr. Marlin, wasn't he?
Yeah, that dude freaking snapper.
He would never do anything. They would always have these guys, the Marlins, and they would show up in the postseason or in a big spot against the Phillies, and they would kill it. They had like David Bell. They brought David Bell in from San Francisco.
Yeah.
They had
good in San Francisco, but he didn't really do anything here. His back was always shot out. They had Burrell was a big part of those teams.
Yeah, Jason Michaels was on that team.
Placido Polanco, Jason Michaels was on that team.
Yes, we played there. That was the era I was in.
Let's get some comments here. David Rosca, Arizona Diamondbacks will win tonight, game 1. I mean, that's not a bad take. You got to think I predicted 5. Brad, sounds like you liked 5. Like, if they're going to win tonight, I mean, this is as good a pitcher as anyone in baseball, is Zach Gallen. So, not a bad take.
Upsets only happen. Listen, upsets usually happen if game 1, when the underdog wins game 1. Game 1 is the easiest game for the underdog to win. Once the series gets deeper, the underdog's going to have a harder time winning games on the road. That's just it's always has been like that in every sport.
Fat Pete Evans, Philly's about to go up 1-0 tonight. I agree. I think Wheeler pitches well, and I think they scored just enough runs against Gallen to win. There's Carey. Says he can't believe Aroldis Chapman didn't blow that game for the Rangers. Chapman, he's been pretty – I mean, I think he started the season in Kansas City and then got traded to the Rangers. He's been settled into that, kind of 6th, 7th setup role.
Still takes – you better be locked in. You got to be absolutely locked in left on left. And Alvarez, like he gave him a home run to the hottest.
He hit it to the moon. I was watching.
The guys, like why? I still don't understand why they're even throwing anywhere near to him. But so like him giving up a home run to that guy is like, okay, I get it. Like he's hitting home runs off everybody. So again, it goes back. I go back to the Dodgers. Like, why would you trade that guy? Why? Yeah. It's a generational.
Are you talking about Chapman?
No. Alvarez was a Dodger product, was a Dodger minor leaguer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was going to say Chapman, the Yankees couldn't keep him because he couldn't find home plate with a telescope.
Corey, he's got the Phillies winning tonight 6-4. Don19 has the Phillies in 7.
Ooh.
That'll be a pressure cooker. Not really what I want to say. Not really what I want to see in this series.
You don't want to see that. You don't want to see the Phillies in 7 on a Trey Turner walk-off.
I mean, as long as that happens, we'll be fine. But getting there will be.
So you're not only a Phillies fan, but you want them to. You don't want to have a heart attack in the process.
Why can't I just coast once? It's always
not in baseball. There's always There's
I
always
know.
adversity in baseball.
It's wishful thinking, and it's a weird game, and you get a couple plays here, a couple bounces there, and all of a sudden an underdog's winning a series.
What's the under? What's the betting line on this thing? What's the over under tonight?
Good question. Pull up DraftKings here. I mean, the Phillies have to be favored. I mean, I can't really envision a scenario where the Phillies are going to be underdogs, even out in Arizona, be underdogs in a specific game. And there's no way Arizona's favored in the series. I'll get the exact numbers right here.
It's pretty crazy to think like they've won 5 in a row. Diamondbacks have not. They've won 5 games in a row. Like that's
and they smacked around their opponents pretty well.
You have the Rangers on what, an 8-game winning streak?
Yeah,
they haven't lost in the playoffs now.
Right, and then you have. It's very odd to have 2 teams that haven't lost a game yet in the postseason. Is that right? Or did Milwaukee win a game?
No, they got swept. All the series were sweeps in the wild card, I believe. There was no game 3.
That was one thing I couldn't watch. I'm a baseball fan, but I ain't watching the Diamondbacks play the Brewers. Sorry, I'm not doing it.
I didn't watch it.
I'd rather watch the Jets play the Giants than that. That's pretty bad.
So you'll get your chance in 2 weeks.
Sorry.
The Phillies were minus 166.
That's pretty.
On the betting line for game 1.
That's a pretty prohibitive favorite.
That's a prohibitive. Yeah, that's a. So for those who aren't gambling savvy, that means you have to bet $166. Risk $166 to win $100 if you were to bet.
Thank you. I always wondered what that was.
Yeah, anything over 1.5 is a prohibitive favorite, just for the record.
So you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. How about I'll go something that doesn't really get talked about. How about the weather this postseason? How great is it?
It's been great in Philly.
Trust me. That's like the only real, right? You're not going to get a cold front in Texas.
No.
It's not going to be 40 degrees in Texas.
Definitely not in Arizona.
No. So the only place we have to really see like weather would bother anybody would be Philly, but it hasn't rained. We have no delays. What a country.
Yeah, it hasn't been that cold either.
Right. Perfect.
So today is probably what, mid-50s right now?
Yeah,
56 degrees in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's balmy for Philadelphia this time of year.
Tomorrow 62 and sunny. Obviously the game's at night, but it'll be warm.
And we have Andy Fletcher, Dan Iasonia, Mike Molchinski, Lance Barksdale, Trip Gibson, Adam.
Lance Barksdale is actually in a playoff game?
That's exactly what I was thinking. So he's
Lance Barksdale is terrible.
Anything besides Lance Barksdale not being great stick out to you on that, Doug or Brad?
No, just Lance Barksdale. I can't stand him.
He just doesn't have a wonderful personality.
No, and he also has the biggest strike zone in baseball.
So he's
too lazy to actually umpire. Everything's a strike with him.
Well, I don't mind that as long as he does it both ways.
No, he never does that. He'll call a pitch that's a foot outside a strike, and then the exact same pitch.
You'll see that guys they tend to even like I could tell even playing like you have one of those guys like, oh man, we got him, and like how much better they are in October. Like meaning they professional where they let go of the vendetta or whatever they have against you, and they're pretty true to the. And it's amazing. I would use it at our advantage. Like, if they were in October, you wouldn't have called that. And he's like, yeah, you're probably right. I'm like, see? So what's the difference?
How do they pick? Like, is it just like because they do that report after each game? About
I'm not. Trust me. I've been in for 25 years. I'm still asking that question.
Is it seniority? Is it who?
It can't be seniority because there's some young guys in there, but like just because you've been around doesn't mean you're good at it.
You mean like Angel Hernandez?
Right. Like that. Trust me, the last person you want to see is Angel. Like you shit me? Like that's the last guy I wanted to see and you would like they give you that sheet. You're like, oh god, we got Angel.
Well, he can't be in the playoffs, right?
No, not anymore. But I'm just saying, like throughout the course of the last 15 years, yeah. Or like they used to do it where like if they did one series, they couldn't do another one. And you're like, and you'd see like a crew, you're like, why are we having you for the division series when like three of the best umpires are doing our division series? Like, wouldn't you want to keep moving them on to do the World Series? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, I'm not 100% sure if they have that same rule, but I remember vividly talking to Randy Marsh going like, are you doing the World Series? He's like, no, after this, I'm done. Like, well, I go, what do you mean? You're like, you can't do? He's like, no, we can't do both. Like, that's weird.
Now, I know there's 2 extra umps in the playoffs, so they have one down left field and right field, but do they keep the crews together?
No.
Or do they kind of
for the whole series, yes.
Okay, so we won't see
see
a clown like Laz Diaz then, or
the regular season
some of
crew.
these other
Like,
guys.
they just don't say you're the best crew, you're in the playoffs.
No.
They kind of make
They
like
mix and match. Yeah,
they mix and match.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NFL does it like that too. I guess that's.
I mean, some guys too. Like some guys have stuff they got to do. You know, I mean, I wouldn't think it would be a lot of guys. I think they would all want to do it, but I'm sure there's been guys who are like, yeah,
Are they full
I can
time?
do the division series, and then I got stuff to do.
Are they full time? The MLB umpires?
Yeah,
So they get paid all year round because football
I would
refs.
think so. I would think so.
Football refs only get paid for what they do. I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's how the NFL sucks.
That's
The NFL is terrible. Like everything about it. Like the fact they just recently got guaranteed money for those guys is mind blowing.
Max Brengel. Remember that earlier this year, in Arizona, these 2 teams almost had a brawl because Carroll got plunked twice. I don't remember that, no, but I mean, Corbin Carroll's a beast. I mean, he led off the game with a single, just a great at bat.
he hasn't tried to run yet.
He has not, which I am surprised at. I guess Wheeler's quick to the plate.
He almost caught him taking a step
I
out.
don't have my stopwatch. I don't have a TV in here, but
Is that what you look for? Like 1-3 to the plate?
you try to you click it from the time he moves his foot to the time the ball hits the catcher's mitt.
I get that, but like, what time are you looking for it to?
I mean, depends on the speed of your guy. You know, if I would think Carroll, you got to be 1-2 or under. 1-1, 1-2, 1-3 at most. We used to be like 1-3-5 to 1-5. We're rolling the dice.
Wheeler, he's throwing strikes, and
I mean, people used to think I was crazy because I would time my guys. From their lead to second, and I wrote it down so I knew in the back of my head, okay, on average he's got to be this to go. He's got to be this to go. He's got to be this to go. So you kind of have an idea.
there's Tommy Pham striking out.
Tommy Pham bats third on that team?
Yeah, trust me. It makes me want to go take some BP.
Seriously?
It makes me want to grab him.
Doug, you could hit better.
Weird
than
things for your
I
lineup.
don't want to say that because he's 16 and 68, but give me a damn bat. Holy hell.
I mean, because you go Carroll, and now I guess Walker's up in the cleanup role. But yeah, that's pretty odd. I mean, he can run. Maybe that has something to do with it.
That's what I would think. Like, but I mean, like,
Yeah, but wouldn't you bat him second then?
who am I? Who am I to talk about
I mean,
Lavello?
they're here, so whatever they've been doing is working.
Yeah, Lavello's been
Every
doing.
night.
Lavello has been
was-
playing good
Lavello
baseball.
was-
So
Me, Lavello, and Paul Molitor were the finalists for the Twins job. And I'm the only one that didn't get a manager's job out of that.
you should have.
So don't take anything I say.
Yeah.
Marte punched out. Pham punched out.
So Wheeler's got 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, he looks
Good.
pretty. I'll tell you, even that base hit that Carroll got, that ball was off the fists, and he kind of just punched it into center field.
I mean, it just goes to show you, though. It goes to show you, like, look at that lineup. Look at the Diamondbacks lineup. I mean,
what about it?
Just look at it. Like,
okay.
We're in the Final Four of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
That goes to show you there's more to this game than freaking how many balls you hit over the fence and how many freaking,
I totally agree.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Evan Longoria is hitting 8th. I thought he was like 50. I thought he was my age.
He's getting up there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's always hurt.
Do you guys feel that, like, athleticism is, like, playing a bigger role these days in baseball?
I just think it's got a combination of pitching. These guys are athletic as hell. I think the rule changes help them a ton. This is a benefactor of those rules. But you still got to play. And I mean, you think about it. They got a lot of guys. I mean, Carroll's obviously there. Pham's from another organization. Gurriel, Evan Longoria. Evan's not even doing much. He's just a veteran presence who, he just has experience. He's been one of the better players of our generation. But, deep pitching staff, young, it's just – and here they are.
Interesting that they didn't that the Diamondbacks did not try to run at all.
At all.
Now,
that was a ground out to Trey Turner. Doug, I want to ask you this because it seems like no one attacks the ball from the front. Trey Turner's notorious for it. They kind of do this like sidestep, pick it to the side, and then throw it. What do you think of that? I think it costs Trey Turner errors. You know what I mean? Like when they backhand it instead of
backhand. If you don't, the thing about getting in, like the whole adage of get in front of a ground ball. Yeah. If you're on the left side of the infield and you're going away from first, right? If you can't get around it, meaning if you can't get around it going back towards first,
you get your momentum going.
You get what we used to call this the oh shit ball. It's the, we call it the 3 ball or the oh shit. We're basically like the ball kind of comes up this way on your glove side and it takes you away from it and that ball goes out in the left center field. So that's kind of why you trust your backhand. You're in line to throw. You're on your power leg, all that stuff. So, yeah, it's not something you really want to teach the young kids, but at that level, you kind of trust your backhand and trust it. He probably does get a lot of sloppy errors like that, but you're in a better position to throw that way than if you try to get around it.
Okay, I have to talk about the Atlanta Braves because they've been
bitching nonstop.
Bitching, complaining, Arcia, Acuna. I don't think their manager. Like, what do you do if you're Atlanta? I mean, you win all these games, you hit all these home runs in May and June, and then it comes to September, October, and you don't win playoff series. They have way too much talent down there to not be winning playoff series.
I wonder if the manager's going to go.
Some teams are built to win during the regular season. Some teams are built to win the whole thing. They're not built to win the whole thing. Like I said, I'll get crucified for this. I've been crucified for this when Atlanta won the World Series. When I said it on a podcast or on the air, I said the number one reason why the Braves won the World Series is because Ronald Acuna got hurt. That's the only reason why they won. Like, yes, but like it's the little things, man. It's like not talking to the media. Like who has a dust up with Freddie Freeman? Like Freddie Freeman's like the consummate teammate. Like who does that? You're starting to hear more and more about Acuna. Like, oh, you want no offense, you want all the accolades for 40 and 70, right? But he's the epitome of today's players. They want all the likes, they want all the clicks, but they don't want the negative side of all those clicks and likes. Right? If you want everybody to, commend you on your wonderful season, when you don't perform, you better stand up. You don't have to say anything. Just make yourself presentable. You don't have to be loved. You don't have to be liked. You don't have to like to do it. But if you're going to stand there and take the roses, you better be able to grab that rose and get thorn from time to time. And that's what I don't understand about how do you let your superstar do that? Like, how do you let him walk away? Where's the veteran stuff? Like, where's the veteran? Hey, dude, like, you got to go face the music.
Schwarber just went yard, led off the game with a home run. We said this could get scary, and a lot of crooked numbers not 10 minutes ago. And there he is, got a fastball middle in, and he absolutely crushed it into the right field seats. But, I mean, Doug, what do you do? Because, like, you have Arcia, they do the attaboy Harper thing, and then they're like, oh, well, he wasn't supposed to hear that. And then Acuna blames the media for handing the Phillies the series because the media reported what he said.
Therein lies everything you need to know. Like, Harper didn't make a big deal out of it. He just used it as fuel. But again, it's not like if you need I've said this about football and baseball. If you need bulletin board material to play a division series game, seriously,
That's a problem.
That's an issue.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Like, a lot of guys get mad at what they read or what they hear. Harper just controlled it. Like, he's starting to become that October dude where you're like, it's not the longevity of Michael Jordan, but if you watch The Last Dance, Michael grabbed nothing but.
Well, back to back and belly to belly.
He made things up just to make him go. And this wasn't made up. And again, you don't, but like when you let the kids run the playground, this is what happens.
Here they go.
Harper just hit one.
Harper going yard, and here they go. Schwarber's on fire. Schwarber's not on fire.
2-0 already.
2-0 already. Harper continues to stay hot.
2 batters up, 2 home runs.
Just to put a pin in this Atlanta conversation before we get back to the game here. Like, Snicker's got to go, right?
No. How you let him go?
Look, I watched this Atlanta team, and they don't do anything. They're not winning players. Not a damn one of them, except maybe Austin Riley. He's really the only player that showed up against the Phillies in this series.
Go back to the team that won the World Series. The Braves team that won the World Series.
Right. Acuna wasn't there, and we outline it all the time here. It was Duvall, Rosario, and someone else.
Yeah, Jock Peterson, Freddie Freeman, right? Were the main guys.
Yep.
It was like not to take away from Michael Harris. They're all really Acuna's a generational player. But when you make it about you, this is what happens. Like, you can't, again, like, no one's there to pull him aside. What person on that team is going to pull him aside? Like, that's not how we do things.
So could you imagine if the Atlanta fans started booing him?
He'd cry.
He would. Aaron Judge last year, when the fans booed him, you know what his response was? This is the Bronx. If you don't perform in postseason, you're going to hear it. And that was all he said. And he
booed Derek Jeter.
Huh?
They booed Derek Jeter.
When he went 0 for 32 that one time, they were booing him. Yeah. I mean, that's what happened.
Like, and again, you don't have.
So they booed Mantle, for God's sakes.
Right. They don't have, like, again, you can't. If you tell a fan what to do, like, they're paying their hard-earned money. You can boo me all you want. I don't like it, but it's my job to make. I'm here to entertain you, and trust me, you can't boo me any louder than I'm booing myself internally when I don't do well. So, but I'll never get on a fan and tell him what he can and can't do. But, like, I just can't. I can't fathom the fact that no one in the Braves organization, from the top down, has said anything publicly.
Like, who's the leader? Who's supposed to do
Where
that?
are they? Like, it's not about that. Grab Acuna and be like, that's not how we do things here.
But who
Like,
would it be? Ozuna? Rosario?
Acuna's out getting 3 DUIs and domestic violence.
Exactly. That's my point. Riley's young. Olsen doesn't strike me as that type of guy. Albies is young.
Riley's been dealing with that since rookie ball. They've been together since rookie ball. So, I mean, like, but that's just. That's
Riley was getting big hits the whole series.
He's the only one that showed up.
But because there's no flair, there's no BS. It's just go play. But that's my point. Like, Olsen was a non-factor in that postseason. Like that. So like, but I'm getting back to him not facing the music to the media, and it wasn't anything negative. Like he hit balls hard, they just didn't fall. It wasn't like he went up there and punched out 9 times. He had good at bats. They just didn't, one ball falls on the wall. Who knows? He had good at bats. He didn't disappear. Let's put it this way: if the whole team did what Acuna did in that series, they would have won one more game, right? He wasn't horrible. He wasn't great, but he was given good at bats. He didn't just throw it out the window. And not to say the other guys did, but you got to face the music, man. Like, how do you let somebody else talk for you? And that's my point. Where like Stinniker's just nothing but he's just happy to be there. He's a career minor leaguer. And again, like what experience does he go back on? He's never faced adversity. That team's never faced adversity. And you can't go to when the Braves won a World Series a couple years ago. That team's a little bit different. Every team is different. You have to learn. That's the one thing Patrick Mahomes talks about. I've never won with this group. That's the truth. Yeah. You have to learn how this team works. This isn't last year. There's not everybody's back. As much as you want it to be, not everybody's back. It's a little bit different. You still got to learn each other and keep going. And it's like, I can't fathom how you can just let your superstar not go up and talk to the damn media. And again, if you don't realize that there's 150 people you've never seen before in the clubhouse and you're going to run your mouth, you wanted the attention on yourself and you didn't think it was going to get back to them, shame on you. You didn't just get to this country 15 minutes ago. You've been in the playoffs before. You guys are idiots. You're flat out morons if you thought that wasn't going to get back to them.
Bryce Harper just went yard in the first inning out of the 3-hole. Schwarber goes yard. Harper goes yard. 2-0 Phillies. They get 2 off Gallen early, who's a terrific pitcher. Doug, this is kind of like legendary, Doug and Brad. Like, this is kind of like legendary stuff we're seeing in terms of postseason performances, both last year and this year when it comes to Bryce Harper. Because a lot of times in these spots, it's kind of like, the 6-7 hitter. It's kind of like a glue guy that, pops off. I mean, I feel like very rarely does the guy, the best player on the team, arguably the best player on the planet, is at his best consistently at this time of year and just carries a team.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do because you go into every series, they go in saying, we're not letting Bryce Harper beat us.
And he does.
And you still – but I will say this. I said the same thing about A-Rod back in the day. The same thing that makes him vulnerable makes him dangerous. Like Alex would strike out with the best of them. He would take balls right down the middle, guessing with 2 strikes. But the fact that you think you can go get him and then he just blasts you, that's what, Harper's swinging the first pitch before he leaves the on-deck circle. He's on the attack. And then they just keep going, and then he just goodness gracious. Like, it's like to do it in October once is memorable. To do it over and over and over again and in different series against different teams, against different arms,
it's pretty legendary, actually.
Yeah, that's like you're talking about Alvarez, what he's doing, what he has done in the postseason, what he's doing this year. David Ortiz. That's just not
Derek Jeter did the same. Derek Jeter did the same thing.
It's not normal. That's just it's insanity.
I think Harper, you were on the team in 2004 when Ortiz was just unconscious and led you guys back. And then in 2009, the Dodgers lost to the Phillies in the NLCS, but we couldn't get Manny out worth a lick. He was just locked, dialed in. Just absolutely crushing baseballs.
I was on that team.
You're on the 2009 Dodgers team too?
You got walked off in Game 5 or Game 4. 4 or 5?
Yeah, that was Jimmy.
Jimmy Jones walked us off. Braxton.
That was Jimmy. And I was at one game in that series. The Phillies won. I think Cliff Lee pitched, and the Phillies won 14-3 or something like that. I think that was that series. We had the lead in, I think, 5. 5? Pedro pitched well against us too. Anyway. Yeah.
But yeah, I was on that team.
But Brad, I mean, have you seen anything like this besides outside of the two that I mentioned?
Well, Derek Jeter kind of did it. I mean, every World Series, it seemed like every playoff game, Bernie Williams was another one. Every time, every big spot Bernie was in, it seemed like he would raise his level of play, especially when he was batting right-handed.
If you look at the series that David had against the Cardinals,
Oh, he was ridiculous.
It was like he was like 10 for 13. And that's like the Cardinals' just stubbornness. They kept trying to attack him, bless their heart, and he just kept wearing them out.
His clutchness, David Ortiz, was just off the charts.
And that's what makes it like the Alvarez and what makes David so different, special, is the fact that I'm not taking anything away from a Derek, because Derek was obviously Mr. November, one of the best playoff players in the history of the game. You couldn't just walk Derek because Derek would steal second and third. He could do both, right? And you could just walk David and he cluttered up the bases. That's what blew me away. And he wasn't doing it with singles. He was doing it with, homer after homer after. That's what blows me the hell away. He doesn't.
His power was unreal.
It just was. The fact that his attention to detail was that fine, and to do it once, right? You have a great postseason, and then you have an even better one, 5 years later. That's just insanity to me. But what Bryce is doing is it's right. It's this team's built to win the whole thing. You let your lineup kind of carry you throughout the season, especially with the 85 wild card teams now. Right? You let your offense can carry you for 6 months, and then you have a legit 1 and 2. And I don't think they're done this offseason. I think they're going to get 2 guys. I think they're going to get 2 starters. They're either going to get 2 starters or a high profile reliever.
The Phillies, you mean?
Yeah.
They're going to have to make a decision. We're in NLCS. It's kind of hard to talk about the offseason right now, but they're going to have to make a decision on Nola. I could definitely see them extending Wheeler a year early, and then you can always use relievers. But and then the way this team is constructed, the last 2, maybe not the last 2, I forget exactly what year Bryce signed, but you sign Harper, you sign Turner. They're the linchpins for your whole team for the next 10, 13 years. You have to go out and sign guys like that who play every day and are at the very top of their positions. I talked to so many people when Turner was kind of not scuffling, but by Trey Turner standards was scuffling, what a waste of $300 million. They should have signed more pitching. No, when a high profile position player like Harper or Turner hits the open market, you have to do what you can to go get them. They play every day.
Shortstops aren't something – the shortstop position, you don't want a question mark. You don't want a question mark. You just don't. You want, you want the given commodity if you can. And you have to pay for it, but you want the given, right? If he gets older, he can go play second.
Or third.
Or third. Or first.
Yeah.
Or DH. Or he can save his legs. So there's a million ways to do this. But I just love that team gets it. Those guys, you can tell the Phillies lineup has that chemistry thing that kind of like the 04 Red Sox had. They go out to dinner, they're 11, 12 strong. That matters. That means something. There's just no panic. They trust each other. They enjoy going to work. They enjoy going to the yard. Or I bet you those guys get there at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. They can't wait to get to the field to hang out with each other. I promise you. That matters. That means something. You have to have that. If you hate going to work, it's a miserable long season. And there's teams that win that aren't exactly fun to go to. You can just tell they enjoy the competition side of it. They pull for each other. There's no which one you think anyone on the Phillies team is going to run away from the media?
No.
They'll kill him. But that's Atlanta allows that. The city allows that. The Braves allow that. They coddle that. Like that's just the reality of it.
And then, like, I think that Philadelphia, the Red Sox team, I know they won a couple with that kind of core up there. You were on the 04 team. Like, it was like Philadelphia and Boston, like, they're tough, mean, blue-collar cities. And, like, that Red Sox team and this Phillies team, they're tough, lunch pail, blue-collar teams that identify with the Phillies.
They identify with the city. They identify.
Cities, yeah.
Like, you can say what you want about the media and, like, this and that, or the Philly media is tough, the Boston media is tough, the New York media is tough. Well, you can either embrace it or let it deflate you and let it kill you. But that type of love-hate relationship creates us versus you kind of feel, and that pulls you closer. You can either let it pull you apart or you can bring it all together. And that's like that all goes hand in hand. Boston, even New York, the Yankees, they got me. I wasn't the greatest player they've ever seen, but like my effort level was there, and they stayed with me longer than they should have. And they respect that because they're like I'm just like they are, and that's like this team looks like. You're telling me like you wouldn't want to go out and just go have a beer with these guys? Like these guys look like they have a blast. That's kind of was our 4 team. It was like I just want to hang out with these guys. These guys are just fun to be around. That matters when you go to war. That matters. You want foxhole guys,
especially in baseball.
They just seem like they just seem like the moment is never too big for them.
They generally like a good example was I saw one of the guys. I think. Single or a double, and they did their little thing in the dugout, right? You look at the Twins. The Twins hit a home run to pull within 1. And like Correa was the only guy on the bench that went pumped his fist. One of the Phillies guys hit a double, and the whole top row went nuts. I'm like, that's just way different. That's just like the Twins just hit a one, brought them within 1 run of the Astros in an elimination game, and one guy pumped his fist by the bat rack. These guys hit a single and they go nuts. It's just different. Uh-oh, what happened now?
Castellanos just went yard again. Harper, Castellanos are unconscious. Turner's 0 for 1. He's unconscious. Schwarber's on the board finally with a home run in this game. 3-0 Phillies.
3-0 already.
I can't believe I don't hear it through the screen. I'm probably sure if I open the door out here, I'll probably hear him. And I'm
it's got to be loud.
2,000 miles away from it.
I was at the 10-2 game against Atlanta, and it was loud. And I'm going tomorrow night. And I don't know if it's going to be quite as loud because it's not Atlanta. It's not really like a rivalry like that, but it's still going to be loud.
I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters.
The crowd noise? No.
I don't think it
matters. When you have a softy like Spencer Strider on the mound, you don't think it matters?
Oh, it does. But I'm just saying, I don't think tomorrow night. I think they understand the gravity of what they're about to go to. The next time the Phillies see a home game, it might be in the World Series. They're going to ride. They're going to be loud. I wouldn't say the Phillies-Dodgers had a severe rivalry, and it was loud as hell in there.
Yeah. Ryan Swoop is in the house. Ryan Swoop wants to play the Astros again. He wants payback.
I don't know if
interesting. I forget if we mentioned it at the top of the show or we talked about it before we went live. So the Rangers, the Astros, and the Phillies all had the same amount of wins. So the Phillies beat the Astros in the regular season 2 out of 3. So they will host the Astros. They'll have home field against the Astros. Opening week, the Texas Rangers took 2 of 3 in Arlington from the Phillies. So Texas would have.
Actually, it's 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Okay.
No, wait a minute. No, they swept them. You were 0-4.
Were we?
Yeah.
Whatever. They lost the series. They don't. Not that matters.
It doesn't matter now. But I'm just saying, that team is really good at home. The fact that they won 2 games in Houston is just going to make it awfully tough for them.
Let's see. Jonathan Harvey piggybacking on the Phillies had the eye of the tiger. Phillies have the eye of the tiger. They want a ring, and they're going to get it. Not to beat my chest early. They mean business. I totally agree. I mean,
they're on a mission.
Are they the best team left? Are the Phillies the best team left? If you were power ranking these teams?
Yes.
I think yes.
Well, a lot of people. I mean, I was looking at power rankings this morning, and every power ranking I saw had the Phillies on top and the Astros second. And they may all want to change their mind about the Astros being second.
I don't know, man. That Ranger team is rolling. Like that's, like that's. I think
pummel you right off the top with.
Yeah, they come out at you and they come.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you know what? They don't have Tommy Pham batting third either. I mean,
right.
Seager's one of those sneaky playoff number guy too. Like he bangs in October. Like
bangs in the regular season too, Doug. I mean, I think he gets 330 every year.
One of the best kids I've ever had.
Demian's no slouch either.
I was lucky enough to work with. He's phenomenal. That's. Like I said, I agree with that. They're on a mission. Like you can see it. Like those guys. Like they're not waiting around. They're doing what the favored team should do. Jump on early and keep going.
Yep. Well, that's what I said that the Diamondbacks needed to do if they want to have any chance in this series is don't fall behind. They're behind now. They're dead. They're going to get stomped on tonight now.
Which actually is not a bad thing. That's the thing about playoff games. Like if you get clobbered, it actually helps the other team that's getting beat.
How does that?
You don't have to use anybody that you really want to.
Oh,
right. You just throw Gallon to the Wolves.
He goes and throws whatever he'll throw. You know, say they, you want to get him out of there, but like, say it's 8. Like if you want to keep it like 5-0, where you still have a chance on teetering if something goes right. You make it 8-9-0. Now you're bringing in the guy, the 25th guy, the last that you weren't expecting to use anyways, just to eat up innings, right? So you want to it's kind of a tangle web we weave. You don't want to trust me. You want to score as many runs as you possibly can, but it gives you leeway to kind of throw. You can kind of throw in a guy and let him and burn him, and it changes. Might be that change the plan of what you had going into the series too. When something like this happens, being able to adjust on the fly is huge.
So 3-0 with Gallon, with 3 solo home runs.
You let him
ride.
Status quo.
There's Rob Povia. What's up, gentlemen? I see the Phillies off to a fast start. What a great story with Gallon pitching back in his hometown. Pressure may be getting to him so far. Yeah, Gallon, he's a South Jersey guy. So he's right at home here in Philadelphia. Not going particularly well for him right now, but
I think for the home team that has the first 2 games at home, game 2 is the swing game. Game 2 is the tough one. Regardless of what happens in game 1, to me, it's kind of like a must win in game 2. Just because you leave the other team, you might be getting beat up. You might be getting beat up through game 1. Beat up. Look at the Braves, right? Look at that series. Philly stomps game 1. Game 2 slips away. That series could have swung right there. Thankfully, it didn't. But how did you feel? 1-1 when you but we kind of had that one, right? You were leading the whole game. Your guys, Wheeler's throwing a no.
Yeah,
right? You're rolling. You're oh, this is over. And then on the blink of an eye, it's what I'm saying. So the game 2 is the sneaky game for the team, kind of young team. And this is what I'm thinking out loud with the Diamondbacks. Okay, if you lose game 1, okay, game 2, we sneak game 2 out. You feel pretty good about if you're the road team, even if you're the home team, you lose game 1. That's where, to me, game 2. That was Joe Torre's thing about always throwing Andy Pettit on game 2. He wanted his best going game 2 if he could do it right. Because that was the most important game. Whether it's a 4-game series or a 5-game series, you want your best going game 2 if you can do it.
I'm so not – we talked about it earlier, but I'm so not a fan of the 2-3-2. And, I get it. It condenses it a little bit so you don't have to do an off day. You can just – especially when, it's, Philadelphia, Arizona, time zones, long flight.
Yeah.
But, why do I have to do a 2-3-2 when it's Houston and Texas?
TV.
But because in the 2-3-2, the home team gets games 6 and 7 at home.
Mm-hmm.
There can't be a game 6 or a game 7 without it being an elimination game.
For somebody.
I just think that's way too. It's way too competitive.
Baseball's always been 2-3-2.
Yeah, it has.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2004, when you played the Yankees, it was 2-3-2?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last 2 games that the Yankees lost were Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
I remember Game 7 was in Yankee Stadium because you guys.
Yeah, Game 6 was too. I remember John Lieber pitched Game 6.
Mm-hmm. Mark Bellhorn, an Oppo homer.
Yeah, with the immortal Mark Bellhorn, who only hit home runs in Yankee Stadium.
I don't think I've ever I don't think my home team has ever been the home team in a 2-3-2. So this is different. The only other example in Philadelphia I could in a 2-3-2 format was the Sixers in the 2001 finals against the Lakers.
Wait, didn't you have what was it last time the Yankees won? Was it 2009? Wasn't that? Didn't you have the 3 middle games of that?
Right, I've seen that.
Yeah. The Phillies had the middle 3 games.
And the middle 3 games, then okay. I'm trying to think.
The Yankees had home field.
My team have games 6 and 7 potentially at home. We've always had the 3 middle. Is what I'm saying. Just an option.
Oh yeah. Okay, so because you guys won it in 6, right? The Yankees won that in 6.
Yes.
Yeah, we lost in Yankee Stadium.
Okay, so that was Game 5 when they had all that craziness going on. Johnny Damon. Is that Johnny Damon's game? Johnny Damon?
No, that's Game 4.
Okay.
You mean when Johnny Damon just kept running from first to third because nobody on Philly covered third?
Yeah, and then Game 6 was the Matsui game. He had 7, 8 RBIs.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, the Phillies won game.
You won in 08, right? The Phillies won in 08, right?
Correct.
They weren't the home team for that? How did that? They had to have been. Because it flip-flopped every year, didn't it?
Well, that was when the stupid All-Star game.
Oh, when it mattered. Now it really matters? That's stupid.
Decided, I'm pretty sure, and the AL won every
year.
year.
You're right. Because I was thinking of back-to-back. You went to the World Series back-to-back years. You had to have home field on one of them, but you know better than I do.
Yeah,
right.
That was back when that was the stupidest rule ever.
All-Star game.
Yeah, the Phillies split. The Phillies split the first 2 games in Tampa, and then they swept them in Philly.
And the Phillies always won Game 1 in that era. They always won Game 1.
Yeah, they won Game 1 against the Yankees too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
They did, and A.J. Burnett came back the next game, and A.J. Burnett was one of those guys that either he was Sandy Koufax or he was Dooley Womack. There was never any in between with him, and he had a Sandy Koufax type game against the Phillies. I think that game too. I think he threw 7 innings and gave up 2 hits, something like that. He pitched a great game. Then in Philly in Game 5, he went out there and Philadelphia just mauled him.
Yeah,
which was totally A.J. Burnett.
Oh, there it is. They're through 3. So middle 3, Phillies up 3-0. Carroll just fouled out to end the inning. Now we're back to the top. Schwarber, Turner, Harper. This is where this is I think a key point for the Phillies where they could really blow this open. And
Arizona, if they have any intentions of trying to win this game, they need a clean inning. I mean, it's got to stop here.
And then they'll have 2, 3, 4 up in the.
Not to change the subject, but Kim Ang walked away from the Marlins. See that?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was surprising. I thought she was doing a pretty good job down there. I wonder what happened.
They tried to put someone above her in the baseball operations office, and she said, "Yeah, no."
Well, because they had all that worked out with Jeter too, and they kind of reneged, and Jeter told them to.
Jeter walked out on him, and now she walked out. I'll tell you what, I thought she did a hell of a job with the Marlins.
Yeah. It's
She
like they just
built
can't
a
get on their own right.
stable of arms down there.
I would love to see her replace Cashman. I think she'd be a lot better.
Well, she's going to end up somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, if she's
She can run a baseball team.
if
No
the Mets
question.
are, they'll grab her.
What's that owner? His name's Laurie, I think.
Where? Marlins? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's just not.
He just can't stop making just really stupid baseball decisions.
We're going back on what he. Like, why would you put someone above?
Someone who literally just got you to the playoffs and made she won the deadline. She got more for less than anybody in the entire deadline.
Yeah, who did she get
Yeah, and
again?
brought in some top quality players.
Got Bell.
Berger, yes, Bell.
Production wise, for what they got and what they gave up, she won the deadline.
Berger's a straight slugger.
He looks like I want him on my softball team. He looks like he just
Exactly. You got Berger, you got Vogelbach in New York, and that's quite a 3-4 on your softball team there.
vocal gut.
Let's see if I'm
Oh,
missing.
Vogelbach is never seen a cheeseburger he didn't like. I don't think.
No, he was that big in the minor leagues too.
He's pretty spry though for
For a large man.
his weight, for a large guy.
Yeah.
Fat guy. I'll call him a fat guy since he's on the Mets.
I'm just trying to be respectful because I'm not exactly skinny myself.
Oh, I am no skin and bones either, Brad. So the struggle is real for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Big inning.
Hey, listen, Cecil Fielder was pretty fat too, and that didn't seem to make any difference the way he used to hit.
Prince Fielder was huge too.
Yeah, Prince, but
Was Prince fatter than Cecil?
Prince could fly.
Yeah, Prince was a real good player.
Fly. Like Prince was like NFL sneaky athletic. He could fly.
Really?
He could jump. Yeah. Prince
he hurt his neck and never recovered.
Prince was really, really, really freakishly athletic.
Well, his father was pretty athletic too.
Don't get me wrong, but like Prince was special as far as athletically.
Yeah, I just remember Cecil hitting home runs 49 and 50 in Yankee Stadium the one year he hit 50. Boy, he could hit. I mean, I remember he hit I think home run number 50 was a home run in the upper deck in right field.
Yeah.
As a right-handed hitter.
Mm-hmm.
That's power going the other way.
He could hit.
Yeah, he was kind of Judge before Judge came along.
He could hit balls really hard.
So let's see what Gallen has now. He's got to go out there and he's got to shut this team down.
Arizona really needs a clean inning here, and the Phillies have a really good chance to blow it open and put this thing out of reach with the top of the order up. So this is actually a big spot in the game, I think.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, he's got to settle down and give his team a chance to win. There's a big strikeout. That was a good curveball.
I guess I'm being
that ball broke straight down. I mean, is it possible he's just not sharp because he had too much rest?
Adrenaline could help, could hurt.
I'll tell you what, that pitch that
Giving up solo shots usually don't kill you, though.
no, that's true. That's true. I mean,
generally, when you hit 4 of them or 3 of them, it's a little different. But generally, solo shots don't murder you. Don't. Or it's not the end of you.
no. Just ask Catfish Hunter.
This game will be decided in like this 5 through 7. I just feel like Arizona's going to have to do something offensively, and they're going to have to have a big inning somewhere, because I just don't think their lineup's not deep enough to sustain it without having one thing where like I just don't, unless an error, something freakish happens. I just don't see the Diamondbacks having enough lineup.
I just don't think they have it in them to beat a team like this.
I mean, quite frankly, they didn't beat anybody. They got here, yeah, the Dodgers, but like,
yeah, but the Dodgers were a shell of themselves.
They were.
That was just them by name. That wasn't like
They didn't have Tony Gosselin. They didn't have Urias. Kershaw was the only veteran starter they had. I mean, they just Dustin May was out. I mean, their whole team.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They left no doubt. They wasn't like they just squeaked by them. They beat the crap out of them. But
they humiliated them.
So, but
yeah, but they're not facing guys like Bobby Miller on the Phillies.
Right. That's what I mean. Like that's.
They're facing big time pitchers now, and they're up against it. It's like it's just like when they played the Yankees like 3 weeks ago, and the Yankees beat them up. I mean, they faced Cole and they couldn't touch him. Well, they're facing a guy just like Cole tonight, and Zach Wheeler. What difference is that going to make? They're not going to touch him either. I mean, their lineup isn't good enough to be able to scare the Philly pitchers. And there's one in the gap. It's going to roll all the way to the wall.
Look at Brad ruining the game for me because
I was going to give you something else. Anthony Richardson might be done for the year. Not to bounce all over.
What happened to him?
Shoulder. That's why you don't draft mobile quarterbacks in the first round, the first 10 picks.
Yep, there's the gapper. Brad ruining the game.
I'm sorry.
With the I
forgot that I get my feed's a little quicker than yours. I'm sorry.
You have someone's you FaceTiming one of the coaches in the dugout? How are you getting it faster than we are?
I don't know. Bob Raymond, how about the Phillies lineup evolved to have a new center fielder and use Martian left, Schwarber to DH. Happened with ease. Yeah, and Pache comes in. They got a little platoon going in left field.
Oh, here comes another run.
Rojas.
Why did they not just walk Bryce Harper? Or just try to pitch around him?
I mean, it's to the point where, like, if there's a base open, like, you have to walk them, right?
I said the same thing watching the Astros game. Like, I get if you're winning like the Rangers were, like, make someone else beat you besides Alvarez, and then he gave up a second homer to him. But like this guy, like what? Like, no offense, no disrespect to Bohm at all, because he's a really damn good player, and he's had a great year.
Yeah, but he's not Bryce Harper.
Exactly. Like, you make one of the wedge breakers beat you, make a Stott beat you, make a Bohm beat you.
I mean, at least try to pitch around
JT,
him.
like I mean, like, how many times do you have to
that base hit
before you're like, all right, man, like, that's enough.
Base hit was hit hard. I think he hit that ball harder than he hit his home run. He just didn't get under it.
So dangerous though is he can go. He uses the whole field. He's not one dimensional. He's not trying to do just one thing. He just goodness gracious, like.
He hasn't pulled the ball like this. I mean, obviously he was hurt a little bit, but I don't.
Yeah, but go back to the Braves series. He took his meaningless single over the shortstop's head, like that little duck fart bloop kind of semi-line drive. I said, like, I looked around, I looked at my son, I go, that might be the hit that everybody forgets about that locks him in for the rest of the month.
Now Zach Allen plunks Bohm.
Oh,
he hit him in the elbow pad.
Oh, it got him.
Yeah, it got him. Got him in the elbow pad, but squaring an elbow pad, big deal.
I mean, now I want to bury him.
This shit's over.
Just go up 8-9-0 and just coast. Have Wheeler pitch. I mean, what do you do? Well, let's just say that, for sake of the argument, like, let's say they blow it open here. Are you pulling Wheeler, or are you letting Wheeler
blow
go
it
the
open
whole
mean?
time?
What does blow it open mean?
8-9-0.
You let him throw 80 pitches,
As
Yeah,
opposed to
that would be about right.
70, 80 pitches. If you pull him out before that, now he's got more rest than what he's normally. You don't have to treat him with like, kid gloves. They're not made out of paper mache. But you let him get his work in, let him get his 70, 75 pitches in, and then okay. Because right now it's like, look, playoff innings that like John Smoltz was talking about that today, and like makes sense. Like playoff innings are different than regular season innings. Like high stress, constantly grinding. There's a significant difference in them. But like you still want them to get their work in.
He can't get his curveball over tonight. Or a sinker, whatever that pitch is that goes down. That pitch is not getting. He's not throwing it for strikes.
No, that's Doug's sweeper. He loves it.
Those freaking stupid ass.
No, that's not a sweeper. That ball goes straight down. But I mean, he's not getting the ball over the plate. The Phillies are laying off.
Where did Harper's hit go? Not the homer, but where did the hit go?
Right down the right field line.
Oh, must have been a breaking ball.
Yeah, he pulled it
Yeah,
right.
he smashed it.
Yeah, straight pull job right in the hole.
I just dumbfounds me how you still pitch to him. Like, why? Like, why? I mean, I get it. There's some pride that goes into this where you're like, it's first game. You're trying to maybe figure some things out. That's where it's like, okay, you're losing 4-0. We're going to figure out where we can go with him.
Well, you don't even have to throw the ball anymore. You can just signal to the ump, just say 4, and just call it a day.
Or you could just throw pitches that are on strikes and.
But that's the problem. That's why like you say, be careful with them. When you try to be careful with someone with pitchers that aren't used to being careful with guys, they end up in the second deck because they don't want to. And that's exactly what happens.
Because you got to let athletes play like what.
I mean, I think they got. I think that
it's getting to the point where it's like, all right,
he's got to get pulled. They can't keep letting him pitch.
He's only got 54 pitches.
I know, but he's not. He can't get anybody out.
He's not throwing
ineffective.
Command is not there.
Yeah, he's not effective tonight. So I mean, if you're going to leave him in there, they're going to score. They're going to probably end up hitting a grand slam. It'll be 8-0.
Right, but who cares? Okay, if you're already down 4-0, again, you take him out here and you exasperate your bullpen in game 1. But
that's no good, right?
Yeah, I guess if you're going to put in like one of your garbage pitchers, I suppose it doesn't make a difference.
But what happens if you get bombed tomorrow night? Now what?
Yeah, well, then they have to use another garbage pitcher.
I mean,
But I mean, he can't get anybody out right now. He's clearly he's clearly in big trouble.
I'm going to give it up 5 hits.
He just got a double play, so maybe that'll. He just got a double play, so he's out of the inning. So I'm wrong, as usual.
What's that?
I'm wrong. He just got
the third. Like you got to grind this out, kind of. If you're gonna
4 runs in
get a
that
run here,
park,
get a run there.
4 runs in that park is nothing. That park's like Williamsport.
Did you like hitting in Philadelphia?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah.
Because you had that brick. We have that brick wall in center, like that.
Through the brick, it's like 112 to right there. It's like 135 feet. I thought Jim told me he was going to hit 105 home runs a year when the Phillies signed there. I was like, he's going to hit 78 home runs in the first half.
All right, we have.
If he would have played there from instead of Cleveland,
right?
Oh.
Well, he would have been in the vet for.
If you could have played his entire career there at that park, oh my laundry. I think 2005, I hit like 5 or 6 there. I only hit 11 or 12.
And half your home runs came in Philadelphia?
I think so.
What were you on
I got Uga Turbina twice. Yeah, I was like, I don't understand how I did it, but I did it there.
What were you on, the Mets?
Yeah.
So you had a lot of chances, yeah.
And Ryan Madsen, my next hit off Ryan Madsen will be my first hit off Ryan Madsen. That guy was nasty. The best changeup in the history of the game.
The bridge to Lidge in 08.
He was filthy.
All right, Mr. Mankiewicz.
Yes.
Don 19.
Yes. The
While
Eagles
we're
bounce back.
in
Yes.
a commercial break here, we would be remiss not
Yes.
to mention the big-time Sunday night football matchup between the Eagles and the Dolphins next week. Doug Mankiewicz, a big-time Dolphins fan. I am a big-time Eagles fan. Do the Eagles bounce back next week?
Yes.
Yesterday was terrible.
Oh, I thought it was kind of glorious myself.
Oh, my God. Jalen Hurts played awful.
Don't
Devontae Smith
the Jets have a defense is legit. Like they can stop anybody.
And Zach Wilson did just enough to win the game.
He's terrible.
He is
But,
terrible.
yes.
But he did just enough, accompanied with the Jalen Hurts mistake. That interception with what was it, like a minute 30 to go, where they got it, they ran it all the way down the 5-yard line, and then Breece Hall ran it in. Maybe there's more time left than that. Like, that can't happen. Like, what is that? And he made such a good throw. The thing before, like, I got up out of my seat, and I'm like, yeah, like, that's a freaking $250 million throw. Like, let's do it again. And then they're running the other way. Jalen Hurts played awful yesterday. And this offense needs to figure it out from the
They'll be
coaches.
fine. They'll be fine next week.
They'll be fine next week?
Yes. Because I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. Until I'm proven otherwise, we can go on the road and play someone decent and beat someone worthy. I'm still going to have my doubts. Do I want them to win? Of course. But, let's be honest. We've beaten the Panthers, the Patriots.
They stink.
They're
And the
terrible.
Giants.
They're horrible. We've played one decent team, and they absolutely humiliated us. That's Buffalo.
That makes me feel a little better now that you've mentioned that.
Yes, we can. Yeah, and the Broncos. I mean, heck, I can get 10 other guys off the street right now. We can put a drive. And by the way,
for 31
Russell Wilson is the most overrated player in the history of the NFL.
You might be right.
He's horrible. What happened to him? I thought Pete Carroll was an average head coach. He's got to be the greatest head coach in the history of time. He won a Super Bowl with that guy.
Well, I mean, was he ever really that good?
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
He just seems like you're starting there's chinks in the armor here. Marshawn Lynch has got a problem with him. Sean Payton.
He doesn't seem to be one of the boys.
No, and it's just he reminds me of Alex.
Yeah.
He reminds me of A-Rod.
Except Alex is one of the best players ever, and Russell Wilson isn't.
Okay.
Alex can sort of get away with it.
Yeah, he just pays people to get away with it. But anyway, I just until the Dolphins show me that they can go, they're going to score. Yeah, they might score, but A-Chain's injury changes us. I'm curious to see Armstead, our right tackle, our left tackle. That's huge for us. He's the only guy. If we can we're significantly better when he's healthy. He's just always hurt.
Yeah, it's the Lane Johnson. It's the Lane Johnson effect in Philadelphia.
Correct. And until I'm holding out hope that when Jalen Ramsey's healthy, it changes our dynamic because it gets Eli Apple at least to the slot guy and not the other side corner. I'm curious.
Yeah, well, theoretically, Ramsey's going to take out half the field.
You'd think, and then we have Xavier Howard who can do the other side. But I love our defense, but they have I've been hooting the blowfish, dude. The Dolphins make me cry. It's it just happens every year that something happens or you get your hopes up, and I'm always called as Mr. Negative down here because I'm hang on, man. We've been 3-0 before. We were 3-0 last year.
Yeah, but that one running back you guys have, that really fast guy, not Mostert, but the other guy.
He's hurt. He's on IR.
Oh, he's on IR now?
Yep. Knee.
Oh,
He'll be back, but we're significantly different with him. And I'm curious to see if, McDaniel, what he does.
Mostert's good too. I like
Oh,
him.
he's fantastic. I love him. I love him. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of all of them. They look like they're having fun. But again, I'm not trying to be negative. I just, until I see it, And I don't even have to. I don't even like. I want the Dolphins to win, but I don't even need to have them win this weekend. Just put up make it a 1-score game in the fourth quarter, late. That's all. That's all.
I think the Dolphins are going to win. To be honest with you, I think that at home they're good at home this year. They're really good at home. Oh, it's in Philly. Okay.
Yeah.
Sunday night football in Philly. Eagles Dolphins.
That's going to be a rough. That could be a tough game for them.
Yeah, it's a very tough game.
Yeah, that's a real.
I don't even care if we win. Just
show up.
Don't get steamrolled.
I'll tell you what, if it's bad weather, that would really help the Eagles.
Don't get physically beat to hell. That's all I ask.
Well, will it help the Eagles? Because the Jets do have a good defense, but statistically speaking, they didn't have a good run defense, and they threw the ball.
Yeah, but it'll slow down. But Miami has their offense has incredible speed, though. That's
you make Tua pump fake, it's over. You make Tua pump fake, and it's a pick fest.
Yeah, but they still have incredible speed of their wide receivers.
Tyreek Hill is
a freak.
The MVP.
Yeah, he's just. I don't understand why Kansas City couldn't figure out a way to pay him, but I guess they couldn't.
They won a Super Bowl without him. They're fine.
Yeah, I guess.
And to get back to baseball, I mean, Zach Wheeler is blowing through this Arizona lineup. He's let up one hit. I mean, he almost threw a no-hitter. He was a no-hitter through 6 last time.
That's why I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying
last
anything.
time.
Right.
Well, I mean, he's got a hit tonight.
Well, I said no. Brad said he's still a no-hitter, and then he gave up a hit. I said in the 5th inning, this game's over. This series is over, and Austin Riley made me look stupid, and he had to throw a homer. So I'm not saying a word about that. I think they're in a good position. How's that? I feel very confident where we're at as a Phillies fan right now.
They're in the driver's seat right now.
Correct.
Where does Wheeler, do you guys think, where does he rank in baseball among the starting player pool?
For postseason? Recently? All time? What do you got?
Of all the pitchers in baseball, today, obviously in the postseason, he's pretty good. You probably want him over most.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable.
Maybe probably 3 or 4. Top 5.
Oh, he's definitely in the top 5.
Yeah, top 5.
Because who you got to think? Who you think if you could have your dream postseason starting pitchers with the guys right now, and the guys that are playing today? You go Verlander,
Snell,
Scherzer when he's healthy.
Nah, he's too old. He's
I'll
not
take
dominant.
Scherzer.
I don't think he's dominant anymore.
Well, you want someone that goes 5 innings and Blake Snell?
Well, I think Scherzer's more dominant these days than Verlander. No?
Huh?
I mean, obviously, we'll see with his injury. He's going to pitch the next game for Texas. But from what I saw on the Mets, Scherzer was much more of a dominant pitcher in his old age than Verlander was. Not to say Verlander bad. I mean, he let up 2 runs the other night, and I've still never seen a team score 0 runs and win. So that's on the offense, not on Verlander.
That's the guys that are still left. You got to think.
Guys that are in the Final Four.
Oh, in the Final Four
this year. Let's just say guys that made the playoffs this year.
Okay, so
are the guys that are playing now, experience-wise? If you had a chance,
Wheeler's got to be one, right?
Wheeler should be one right now.
Who?
I would think Wheeler's one right now.
I'm talking about in the league right now, not just who made the playoffs, in the league right now. So if you're talking if you want to talk about still playing, yeah, I'd go Wheeler.
Still playing Wheeler for sure.
I mean,
right.
Strider's terrific,
He's
but
not playing
he's not getting it done in the postseason. There's 2 postseasons in a row where he can't.
No, thank you.
No,
thank you.
I think I take Cole.
I take
He's
Framber.
really good.
Framber.
I watched them give up 4 runs today. I don't think we watched them give up 4 runs the entire postseason last year.
No, I think that your theory about throwing all those innings has caught up with him this year. Throwing a lot of innings.
He's always had trouble in the first inning, though. They never got to him. And you got a different, like, you notice how Texas, like, when's the last time any team has ever played them that have come out the way they came out? They came out attacking from the word jump. They don't care if it's fastball, slider, curveball, the stupid-ass sweeper, or whatever the hell it is. They come out hacking. When that ball's in the strike zone, those boys are taking swings. That's it. Like, I remember John Smoltz talking about Framber having a rough first inning from the word jump, like the last two postseasons. And he's teetered on breaking in the first, not breaking, but giving up some runs, and it didn't happen. And Texas, they pushed 2, 3, how many across today? 4?
I think they won 5-4, right?
They won 5-4.
I think they scored 4 in the first. You never let a guy get comfortable.
No.
They gave up 5 hits in the first 10 pitches he threw. Think about that.
But you can make the argument as far as postseason is concerned. Okay, what about Eovaldi?
Yeah, that's where I was going with this.
Eovaldi in the postseason. I mean, the last few years he's been really good in the postseason.
I mean, people forget the game that he lost against the Dodgers was probably one of the best pitching performances that no one ever talks about.
That wasn't his fault.
Muncy hit the home run off him, but he saved them. He saved that series by pitching as long as he did.
Through 7 innings.
No. And he wasn't even supposed to pitch.
No, because they were worried about his neck or his back, I think.
I wanted the Phillies to sign Eovaldi instead of Taijuan Walker.
Yeah.
In the offseason.
I think it costs more, didn't it? It's got to cost more than that.
I mean, it's not my money. I don't care.
I can understand. I can understand though, because the problem with Eovaldi is he's very injury prone, and
Eovaldi, you better have 2 young guys who you can pitch while he's on the IL.
Yeah, because he's not gonna make every start.
That's where the difference between these guys that. Okay, that's my argument with Kershaw. They have to have him throw. They have to. Without him, they don't get the 10-game lead. They wear him out all season, and then the years I'm talking about when he was healthy and he was getting through, and he was the only one they had, right? When everybody called him a bad postseason pitcher, they were riding him the entire season to get there and keep going. There's something to be said about Eovaldi, right? He always gets hurt during the regular season, but he's always finds a way. He's healthy in October. You want his ass pitching. Oh, Rob, what happened?
That's bad base running. I mean, it's a sharp grounder at first. Marsh is going and gets cut down at the plate. That can't happen. I know they're up 4-0, but that can't happen.
Okay, what happened now?
So 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Schwarber hit a rocket to first base, which was knocked down by Walker.
Okay.
Marsh takes off for home. So Walker just collects himself, throws it to home. They tag Marsh out. That.
Was it a contact? Was it a contact play, or was it just a regular play, or did he run because he?
That's decided by the manager.
He didn't have to run. It wasn't a force.
That's not a baseline blunder. That's not a baseline blunder if your manager tells you want to go on contact.
Yeah, he probably didn't run on contact then.
He had to have.
He did.
Oh, okay. So Marsh is fast though.
But they call it it's not a baseline blunder. If you're told to go on contact, you go on contact.
It's a bullet though. Don't you have to read the situation a little bit if you're a player?
You don't have time to read that. You don't have time to read that. If you're going on contact, what's that say? You're going on contact. As soon as the ball.
Contact, what if it was a line drive and Walker caught it?
That's the risk you take. That's the risk you take. You're up 4-0. What do you think Schwarber was hitting? You think anybody wants to play infield in with Schwarber hitting at first base?
No, they had it they had the infield up for Schwarber, and
right. If that ball's bobbled a split second, he's safe. Or if it kicks off him, he's safe.
I guess.
High chopper. Infield in, you increase the chances of getting a hit because no one has range. Trust me, I remember playing in with Travis Hafner up in the bug game, and I was like, I can think of 2 million places I'd rather be than standing right here on the grass with this dude swinging these bugs in my face than I am right now. That's not easy to do.
What is that with Cleveland and all those bugs? I feel like they always have problems.
It's off the lake, whatever the hell, whatever.
Is that what it is?
Lake Erie.
That was bad.
Erie?
Yeah, it's Lake Erie. I'd much rather try that than leave them there and then leave second and third without trying.
I guess, because then Turner just grounded out to end the inning to first. We grounded to first.
So it wouldn't have made a difference. But yeah, no, you gotta make them. You gotta make them throw you out, Rob.
Whatever.
If you're ahead 4-0, you got to make them throw you out because it would take a perfect. They have to make a perfect play to throw them out, and they did.
The mistake that I think a base running mistake that in the other game was I was watching it with Steele, my son, coaching third. I think Tavares, their 9-hole, hit a triple.
Yeah.
With 1 out, and they played infield in. And to me, you wouldn't be going on contact there. You're already up. You have Simeon and then Corey Seager coming up, who's hotter than a firecracker. So you let it wait. But I always tell my guys at third, don't get off. You have to get back on the line drive. You cannot get off. If the third baseman plays in, you have to be able to get back on the line drive. Where are you going? You're too far. You're too far.
Hold on a second here. How is that a blunder? And what just happened in the Phillies game not a blunder?
He hit a line drive. And he wasn't going on contact. He got doubled off.
Oh, it was a line drive.
That's why it's a blunder.
Never mind. Getting ready to wrap it up here on the Sports Hounds. Let's get a quick word from our sponsors at
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years.
No.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor, and fun. Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
Billiards.com. Find all your game room and man cave needs at Royal Billiards, located 515 Bethlehem Pike in Colmar, PA. Check them out. There's their website right there. We got Fandemonium, Sports Jeopardy coming up next. Then we have Rivals into the night. Phillies continue to – I don't want to say this is over, but Arizona's got to get cooking. Got to get cooking here.
I'm not saying it because Wheeler had punched out the world going in the 5th inning against the Braves in Game 2. Was that Game 1?
Yeah, but he wasn't the one that flew that game. That was the bullpen that blew it.
No, but he also gave up a homer that made it within a 1-run game, wasn't it?
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yarno. That was after I said it. I'm not saying Zach Wheeler's got this game in control, but I ain't saying it because I don't want to. I'm not
right, because they used Hoffman in that game in the 8th,
which was. I still don't. I saw him warming up for the 9th the other day, and I was like, "Oh no, please!"
That's when we were emailing, right?
Please,
no. Like, what are they doing using Soto?
Yeah, not him. Not him.
Not him. And I said when they brought Soto in, I was like, "He's not going to throw a strike. Like he's not going to throw a strike," and he didn't.
I did send you an email on that thread. You never got back to me, or if you did get back to me, I missed it. Would you rather to end the series or end a game? Would you rather? What's more embarrassing? The check swing, punch out, or strike out looking?
Oh, looking.
Strike out looking.
Looking?
I didn't get that one. I would have totally came back on that one.
Yeah, I would have said looking.
But okay, there's a credit. You. Okay, the last out of that series, right? And like,
Was a
tell
check
me,
swing.
right? Okay, but you're telling me if Acuna comes up in the situation in the ninth inning, you guys are shitting a brick, right? Right?
Yeah.
Sure, of course.
That's like, who's managing the game with the Braves? Like, what are you doing? Like,
I don't think Snicker. I don't think he's that great. I think.
I think
I don't trust me.
I
I'm
think-
never going like, okay, so here's a kid that you just told he didn't make the team out of spring training, but you got their season on the line. Oh, that's like where are you thinking? Like, no offense, not to get long involved. Topper sends his closer out there in the 7th and 8th inning. And you gotta be like, okay, let's do the math here. Their third or fourth option in the pen is going to be closing this game. Save your bullet for that. You leave it to the 25th guy on the roster to save your season? Just what's the best thing? What are you trying to do with your manager for your players or head coach?
And another thing I didn't understand about Snicker, he would constantly go to Pilar over Rosario.
Constantly.
Yeah, that was.
Even like before
That was
the series.
after him saying, I'm trying to catch lightning in a bottle and change the lineup for game one.
Yeah, with Eddie.
You
He
just
said he
won
wanted to catch
120
lightning in a bottle
games.
with Eddie, and then he sat him for Pilar like
Right.
time
You
after
wanna-
time.
Catch lightning in a bottle. Hopefully he gets a hit between either the first or the fourth inning, and then I'm going to pinch hit for him.
But Pilar is not an offensive player. He's a real good defensive player.
Don't get me wrong. I like Kevin Pilar. I whatever his name is. Pilar. I like him. He's a grinder. I love him. I love his at bats. But like Eddie's got.
Yeah, but Eddie is dynamic.
Eddie's
He can.
different. I don't care if he's facing Chapman. I'm gonna let. But you have at some point you can't just empty the entire gun and be like, all I have is a pellet gun to face the guy that I will keep my season alive. Like, you put that kid in a no-win situation. That guy probably hasn't gotten a bat in weeks.
Right.
By the way, here you go, kid. Don't go save our season. No one knows your first name, but here, go win. Go keep our season alive.
That's asking too much.
That's too much. Like, and there's no excuse for it. You're not hitting for the pitcher anymore. Like, it's like everybody's got to be so smart and be like, oh wait, we can't let a lefty face a lefty. That would be, that wouldn't work today. Don't let a righty face a righty. I'm going to outthink the other IT guy.
I got to tell you, Doug, and maybe you were left-handed, so you probably be better. You'd be better at knowing than I would because I was always right-handed. But isn't it harder for a lefty to hit a lefty than a righty to hit a righty?
Not necessarily. I like left on left. You just don't see them. Most kids coming up from when they're 5 years old, right? When you're playing Little League, most guys are right-handed, right? You just don't see enough.
Yeah.
Then you get to pro ball and you see them all, right? So you get to learn how to do it. But like, no one ever complains about letting the righty face the righty, but it's like, as soon as the lefty faces the lefty, oh no, we got to get them out of there. Like, why? I don't get it. Like, and everybody's like, "Ooh, lefties are low ball hitters." No, they're not. They're low ball hitters against right-handed pitchers. They're not low ball hitters against lefties.
No, they're high ball hitters against
Are right-handed hitters really good for the most part? Low ball hitters against righties? No, but they are against lefties. Like, because their ball's coming from the opposite side. I get it. Like, but it just drives me crazy.
When I used to play in Little League, I could never hit lefties. I was a right-handed hitter. I couldn't hit lefties. Their pitches, I could never figure out where they were going.
Yeah,
I couldn't hit them at all. I hit righties really well, but
I tried to switch it, but my dad would throw a million pitches to me left-handed, never hit me. I'd flip around to the right side, and within 3 pitches, I got drilled. He's like, just learn how to hit lefties.
Yeah, but
So,
left on left is tough because wherever you played, Staten Island Little League, there was probably 2 lefties in the whole league.
Yeah, no, East Brunswick, but I mean, there were two or three left-handed pitchers, and they both threw curveballs, and I couldn't hit a curveball to save my life.
All right, we got to get out of here. Entering the bottom of the 5th inning, Bryce Harper is due up. Phillies up 4-0. Fandemonium, Sports Jeopardy coming up next. Rivals coming up at 10. Keep it locked here on A2D Radio. Until next Monday, peace out, everyone. Go Phillies.
Go Phillies, go Dolphins. Fins up.
Fins up. All right.
All right, guys. I'm going to go home and watch this game.
Okay. Hey, Doug,
Yes, sir.
real quick. How'd you like my boys Rutgers on